Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are so honored today to have Paget Brewster to talk to today. She, for almost 200 episodes, has played SSA, that's Supervisory Special Agent Emily Prentice on CBS's Criminal Minds. Say hello to everybody, Paget.
Hello, everybody. It's Paget.
Yes, it is. And what's funny about you, Paget, is I did my research because I do my research. You've had such an amazing career. You've done all kinds of crazy stuff. You've been in animated features. You've done all kinds of live action stuff. And I gotta say, when I looked at it into it, you've been in stuff I didn't even remember you were in. Can you
Cool.
talk? Can you talk about what's led to like having that long of a career and being so successful?
I don't. I all I can think is I show up early. I memorize my lines. I give it my all. I know how incredibly fortunate I am to be able to do all the work I get to do. But honestly, I bet there's things you saw that you didn't know I was in that I don't remember I was in. So I love talking to you because you make me feel like I've had a phenomenal career, and it's that feels really good, especially after the last 18 months.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of actors and actresses would kill to have that longevity. I mean, you've been on Criminal Minds for 14, 15 years. And in between that, you were doing all kinds of stuff. One of the things that you did before that I didn't realize you were in was Andy Richter Controls the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Which I saw, I was like 13 when that came out, and it is hysterical.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, we all got together and did a reading of one of the episodes to raise money for charity. I can't remember who we raised the money for. See, but yeah, that was a fun show. I've been extremely lucky.
I'd see. That's what I'm talking about. You've been extremely lucky. You've also gotten to voice all manner of pop culture icons. You did Poison Ivy, if I'm not mistaken, just a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I did Poison Ivy, Lana Lang, and Lois Lane for the DC. I think they go straight to video. They're movies.
Yeah.
And I think you can buy them and then they go. I don't know where they play.
Yeah, you can just rent them or buy them digitally now. And I have actually seen all of those. So, I mean, it is what we do here. We review films. So like we've seen it. And speaking of it, we're here to talk about initially Welcome to Happiness. Can you talk about that movie in particular?
Yeah, this is okay. So this movie is called Welcome to Happiness. We shot it 6 years ago. Yeah. It was released then, but it didn't get a big release. Now, our director, the writer-director Oliver, has spent the last few months going through. He cut some parts of the movie out that it makes sense. He did a great job. He added chapter titles because it's a kind of fantastical, strange, thought-provoking movie with a lot of characters and a lot of storylines. And so he tightened it up and is sort of helping the audience see where we're going. And it's about a guy who has a secret door in his apartment, and strangers show up after he gets a magical fax, and they are given the opportunity to go through the door and go back in time to change something, change a moment or a decision in their past. And the question the film raises is, would you do it? And should you do it? And how does that change everything if you change the past? Which is an idea that's been in several movies, of course, but there's so much too. There's so many other things going on that are sort of magically connected. And thank God Oliver did a great job cutting it, because I really like it. I like it more than when it came out originally, and so few people were able to see it. And right now, especially with a lot of us in our homes just watching movies and TV, this is a movie that now can have a chance to be seen in a way that it wasn't before, and it's even better. And I hope people will find it.
Me too. I really actually enjoyed it. I watched it this morning because I don't watch anything until the morning of, so that it's fresh in my mind. And I liked it. You were really, really good in it too. Like you were.
Thanks. And thank you for watching it. You do your research, and I appreciate it.
Of course. No, it's funny because there's all these, and you're very intense in the movie. Your character is very intense, and you know Emily Prentice very intense, but you're actually super funny.
Oh.
Like you're like a really funny woman. Like I can tell you, I've seen at different interviews that you've done. I do my research, but even your comedic roles, you're really funny. Like
Oh,
people, I
thanks.
don't think people realize that or know that about you. Would you say that that's something that you try to do, or does that just come naturally to you to be that funny?
Oh, I mean, I certainly try very hard to um, get work in comedies, and Grandfathered and Community, Another Period, Andy Richter Controls the Universe, Friends. Like I've been really fortunate to continue to do comedy while, yeah, Criminal Minds there was no comedy, and I was on a Showtime show called Huff where my marriage was falling apart and my kid was a mess and I did a lot of crying. Like that was I like both comedy and drama, but I appreciate your flattery and your kind words. I like them both, and I hope that there are some interesting projects coming along in the next few months. So far, I've just been this whole pandemic, I've just been recording voices for animation, which is fantastic. I've been very lucky to be able to do that to pay the bills because I haven't left the house.
Yeah. Well, you have an extensive voiceover resume too. Like you've done a lot of stuff, and that's really cool. I was watching something you were talking about doing DuckTales, and it's
Yeah.
so cool. You're in like DuckTales, you're doing these DC stuff. You do a lot of really interesting projects. Can you speak to the differences between being a voice actress and doing a film like as a person, like a live action person?
Yeah, I mean, they're very different and they're both really satisfying in different ways. And they're both really scary in different ways. Like if you're on camera, you're worried about how does my hair look, and I gotta lose weight, and I hate these shoes, and I gotta hit this mark, and I can't shadow the person I'm in the scene with. So you have to contend with a lot of external things. And voiceover is just it's just your voice. That's all you can give them. And so you really have to you have to act in a really dedicated kind of pure way. You don't have to think about your face or your body or who you're in the scene with, because everybody records separately now. Now there's no more, people don't get together and record all together like we used to. And there's a real sense of accomplishment when you know you've gotten the line exactly the way the writers and director and producer are happy. They're all happy with it because it is a committee. There are a lot of people involved in recording narration or animated voices, and you immediately get a sense of satisfaction from it because you know you've given them the thing that made them happy, and they know, because then now they're going to send it away for a year while it gets animated, and the voice actors have to provide those animators with opportunities to do their job as best as they can. So it's a very different world. They're all different worlds, and comedy is different from drama, and single camera is different from, multi cameras like Friends, and everything's different. And I've been incredibly fortunate to be able to do all of it. I don't know how I'm getting away with it.
Honestly, I don't know how I get away with being able to interview people, but I digress. It is what it is. That's how the world works. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple questions we ask every guest that we get the pleasure of talking to. And these are personal questions for you. The first
Okay.
one is, let's say you could only watch 2 films for the rest of your life. What are you picking? It's the hardest question I'm going to ask you all day.
It's very hard. Okay. It's going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark.
All right.
And Joe Wright's Pride and Prejudice.
Okay, yeah, those are really good choices. Both really good
I've
movies.
already watched them both 50 times, so that's what I would stick with on a deserted island with one VCR.
So you love that scene at the end of Pride and Prejudice where he hits her with that line, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, and the whole thing, I love it. I can say so many lines from that, and then opposite that is Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is just like, oh, I love listening to the soundtrack. I love those movies both so much.
Can I just say, what woman doesn't fall in love with Matthew McFadden when he says that?
Oh my God. And he's
Yeah,
so good in Succession.
yeah,
So totally different in
yeah.
Succession
He's good in everything.
from I didn't know that guy was that funny. I had no idea that guy was that funny.
What does he say? You have bewitched me, body and soul.
Yes.
That's what it is, right?
That's what he says at the Temple of Apollo.
Yeah. And then he
You
says,
have
"I
bewitched
love."
me body and soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So good, so
I
good. I love it.
love you. That's what he yeah. Yeah. Oh.
So little known fact, I'm a huge rom com guy, so I love Pride and Prejudice. It's basically a snooty English rom com. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
basically, I love it. So great choice. And then Indiana Jones. I grew up in the '90s as a little kid. I love Indiana Jones. I love Star Wars. I love that stuff. Harrison Ford's God. You know what I mean? So I love
Oh,
that
there's
stuff.
so many good movies though. Come
There is,
on.
there's a lot of great movies, but you picked two really good ones. And then the other thing that I always hit them with is who are some people that you look to as inspirations, whether it be co-stars, directors that you like to watch, actresses you like to watch.
Oh wow. Wow. Inspiration. Well, actually, Frances Conroy, who's in Welcome to Happiness.
Yeah, she is.
I worked with her on a TV movie years ago, and I love everything she does. She's always just up for it, and funny but touching. And she, in real life, she just wants to raise horses and tend her garden, but she's such a great actress. Like, she, I think, personally and professionally, she's got it right, and she's someone that everyone loves working with. And she's in all of the Ryan Murphy stuff, and she's just extraordinary. So I really love her. I think she's great. And then I remember reading, there's a David Lynch, the director, was interviewed for a book called Lynch on Lynch. And there were a series of books that were directors. I think there was Burton on Burton, and there were a lot of directors that were interviewed. And I remember reading that book, and really his basic idea was, I have to accept who I am and what I am, and what I like and what I don't like. And these are the decisions I made that I regretted, and these are the things that I'm so proud of. And it was a really helpful tool when I read it a long time ago, to, because who doesn't love David Lynch? Like, you have to be who you are, and that includes everything that's wrong with you, and just try to be your best, but don't try to be someone else. So I think he's so interesting. His artwork, his movies, his bringing back Twin Peaks. I think he's had a fascinating, varied career. And I think he is uniquely his own person, as is Francis. So it's people who have done their own thing.
I like that. I think that's true and it's funny because Kyle Gallner's in this, and I actually met Kyle at Sundance a few years ago for Dinner in America, which is amazing, and I loved it. And so, me and Kyle, we have a thing. We love punk rock music, and so we talked about that for like a half hour. And he's a great dude, and he
is
kind of is his own drummer, if you know what I'm saying. He bounces to the beat of his own drums. So I think that's another reason why, when I saw he was in this and they're like, "Hey, you're going to get to talk to Paget," I'm like, this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be really fun. And I think you picked some amazing talent. Francis is amazing, and David Lynch is one of my favorite directors. So you picked some amazing talents for people to aspire to. And I think that's amazing. Now, those are really the only questions I had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it to you to tell people why they need to see Welcome to Happiness.
I think it raises questions that are worth asking ourselves right now. And it's also it's not superheroes, which are great. It's not depressing, which sometimes can be great. Yeah. It's a journey, and it takes you out of this world that we're in right now. And that is sort of what I look for in entertainment, because things are tough right now. And I want to watch a beautiful story. I want to see actors that I enjoy. And this movie is an escape, and yet it makes you think. And I'm really proud of it, and I hope people will find it, and I hope they'll ask themselves questions and discover that where we are, even though it's tough right now, maybe where we are personally is a good place to be. The things that we've learned and survived, and I hope they'll enjoy the movie.
I think that they will, and we're obviously going to champion it with our review because we're going to talk about it and write something up for you for the film and include
Thank you. I wish you could talk to Kyle. I don't know where Kyle is.
Annie will take care of it. She's the best. She's good at what she does. So somebody will take care of it. Anyway, the point is the film is great. You guys should all check it out. It's called Welcome to Happiness. It'll be out at some point, probably on VOD for us to rent. Paget Brewster, thank you so much for joining me for just a little bit of your day. Is there anything else you want to leave us with before I sign everybody off?
What would be your 2 movies?
Mine? Oh, yeah. It Happened One Night. And
the Claudette Colbert?
Yeah, It Happened One
Whoa,
Night. I love that one. And probably Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, so I could be happy and depressed at the same time.
Oh my God, I'm gonna watch both of those. I'm gonna watch both of those again.
Yeah,
thank you.
Eternal Sunshine is on Netflix, so you can watch it at any time, but it's gonna be a little bit harder to find It Happened One Night. I just happen to own the Criterion copy, so I watch it.
Oh, you're smart.
Yeah, I just love Capra. That's his top 5 director for me. So
bringing down the walls of Jericho.
Exactly. And people don't know this, but Bugs Bunny is actually based on Clark Gable's character in that movie.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Think about the scene where they're trying to fetch the car. He's got the carrot in his mouth.
Oh my God. And she lifts up the skirt and puts her leg out. That's wild. He was and then he took his shirt off and he wasn't wearing an undershirt. And the president had to tell him to put his undershirt on in another movie because sales went down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fascinating movie.
It's so fascinating. Think about that. I mean, Clark Gable wins the Oscar for a movie he didn't want to be in. Claudette Colbert wins an Oscar that she didn't want to be in. She's on a plane back to Paris accepting it's a crazy movie. I could talk about this movie all day. This movie's crazy. This crazy.
I love it. Thank you.
You should definitely check it out. Like, I know you've seen it, but like everybody should watch it. It's so good. It's basically the birth of the romantic comedy, that particular movie. So
you're right. It is. It's the beginning of the rom-com.
Hang up with you. I'm going to give everybody a proper send-off though. Paget Brewster, from everything that you've ever seen, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you spending time with us. You're the best.
Oh, you have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, Paget, so much. You're awesome.